Isabella's world was small. It fit inside a bright, buzzing screen. Outside, the sun was sinking. Inside, Captain Zorp was winning the cosmic race in Sector 7. "Isabella, dinner's ready," Mum called from the kitchen. Bzzzt. Click. Captain Zorp collected his fuel cell. Isabella missed the summons entirely. 3 long minutes later, Dad called this time. It was louder, because Dad doesn't whisper warnings. "Isabella, dinner, now." With a dramatic, slow-motion sigh, Isabella finally slid off the couch. She didn't look up on the walk to the table, only pausing when Mom sat right in front of her. "Hands, Isabella. Did you wash them?" Isabella nodded, a quick, tiny bob of her head, already reaching for food. "Uh-huh, they're clean." She pulled out her chair, ready to eat and return to Zorp. Mom didn't move. Her look was gentle, but firm. "Show me." Isabella froze. She hadn't washed them at all. She shuffled to the bathroom sink, scrubbed fiercely, and hurried back to dinner. Dad cleared his throat. "We're worried, sweetie. You are always looking down, never looking up. You're always playing on your phone. We need you present when we're talking to you. A phone is helpful, but when our warnings fall on deaf ears, we have to help you hear better. Mum and I are taking your phone, so hand it over, kiddo," said Dad. "It's not fair," Isabella protested, but the words were weak. Dad held out his hand. "For tonight, we hold on to the phone. We need you back here, with us." Sulking, Isabella handed over the phone. Dinner discussion returned to normal, but Isabella didn't join. She only pushed her mashed potatoes into a mountain. "Tomorrow," Dad announced, "we're going garage sailing." Isabella woke up to absolute silence. No electric hum, no screen glow. Her hands flew to the bedside table. Empty. The phone was gone. All that was left was the memory of Dad's firm voice. She dressed in grumpy, slow motion. She heard her dad announce, "Car is loaded. Garage sailing starts now." Isabella managed a one-eyed roll. "I doubt I'll find anything worth looking at," she muttered. But when they arrived at the sunniest, most crowded garage sale of the morning, Isabella decided to give it a try. Slowly, the world began to feel interesting. She sifted through buttons, shiny marbles, and piles of costume jewelry. Then it happened, as if the sun broke through the clouds just for her. A powerful, beautiful light shone down on dusty piles of forgotten things. Curiosity pulled her forward. Phone forgotten. Parents forgotten. She needed to know what it was she was looking at. Whatever it was, it caught her attention. Slowly, Isabella walked over to where it was. As she crept closer, she could hear her mom across the lawn laughing with some neighbor friends. Dad bumped gently into Isabella as he was looking at an old Monopoly box. She didn't even feel him or notice him. Their eyes were locked on the object. Dad leaned down, a quiet, amused smile on his face. "Well, my love," he whispered, "did we find something we like?" Isabella finally looked up, her focus sharp and clear. "Daddy, what is this thing?" Dad's own fascination took over. This is a typewriter, a genuine 1939 Remington, one of the best ever built. He noted the pristine condition. New ribbons, extra glass keys. This beauty is practically brand new. "Would you like to own this piece of beautiful, real history?" Dad asked, offering her the choice. Isabella didn't hesitate. "Yes, Daddy, yes." The rest of the day flew by like a cool breeze. With Ashti guarding the door, Isabella sat down with her stack of juice boxes, cookies, and crackers. She was settling in and preparing to start and finish her book report. "Ready to start," she declared out loud to herself. She loved the idea of having an important project. Her mom poked her head into Isabella's room. "Good night, sweetie. That book report is due next week. You can use a typewriter to make it look perfect." "I will, Mom. I promise." Isabella grinned. She wasn't upset with her parents anymore. She scented a crisp sheet of paper. She intended to type "The Battle of Vicksburg, a major turning point." She pressed the T. Clack. Nothing stamped the paper. Isabella frowned. Impossible. The typewriter was newly ribboned. Suddenly, a deep sss vibrated through the desk, stronger than any phone notification. She looked outside. No cars. She checked her dog, Ashty. Nope, just yawning. The vibration, she thought, came from the typewriter. The keys felt hot to the touch. A warm breeze swirled up, smelling like ancient cedar and dry desert air. Her fingers stopped trying to type Vicksburg and started flying on their own, typing words she couldn't control. Isabella, traveling through time, leaving all her worries behind. With a massive clang, the typewriter launched. It was zooming through vibrant, swirling ribbons of color. Isabella gripped her desk, not scared, but intrigued. She realized this machine only walked when she focused enough to start her report, but then completely took over. Isabella stared at the spot where the desk landed. It disappeared. It was gone, replaced only by the cold, polished marble floor. Worry flickered in her belly but quickly vanished. She knew the Remington was her ticket home. For now, she hid it carefully behind a huge, chipped stone statue of a sitting cat. Isabella realized she was in a palace in ancient Egypt. Mystified, she began walking around. The palace rooms were open to the air, yet strangely silent. She looked up to the soaring painted marble ceilings. How do they dust ceilings that far up in the sky? She whispered to the empty air, thinking of her own messy room. She began to miss her mom and dad. How could she even begin to describe the marble halls, the smell in the air? This moment belonged to her. She decided to keep it her secret. Besides, silence is golden. As she moved closer towards an immense opening that served as a window, she saw life bustling below. People in sheer, brightly colored robes moving around an outdoor market. The fabrics of their garments were woven with threads of dazzling gold. The desert air was dusty, but the palace itself was utterly, perfectly clean. Her eyes drifted to the distance. There were 3 massive, perfect triangle shapes pointing toward the blue sky. Wow! The pyramid! Suddenly, Isabella realized she wasn't tiptoeing around anymore. She was right out in the open, not caring if she was seen. Right at that very moment, she began to hear some people shouting. A group of men in uniform, looking excited, began running toward her, pointing their spears. Her first instinct, run! Isabella bolted. She zipped under massive archways, ducked behind towering statues, slid under ornate banquet tables, and stood behind large stone pillars. She was fast, but they were everywhere. A firm, loud voice cut through the chaos. "Princess! Stop this immediately!" Isabella skidded to a halt. Surrounded, she threw her hands up. Oh, Princess. The lead guard marched forward. "Your Majesty, you must stop driving your guard captain crazy. Come, speak with your father, the king." Isabella looked up, expecting to see a strong, old soldier. Instead, she saw a man towering over her, dressed in gold breastplates and white linen. A man recognized instantly, though he was impossibly taller than her own dad. "My love," The pharaoh boomed gently, wrapping one arm around her shoulder. He knelt down on one knee until his face was level with hers. Isabella wasn't afraid. This man felt familiar and tremendously powerful. "Princess," she whispered. The pharaoh chuckled, his eyes twinkling. "Always my baby," he thought. Soon, just one royal word from her, and thousands will kneel at her feet, the pharaoh whispered to himself. He took both her small hands in his large, warm ones. "It is time to see what awaits you, little ruler. It is time to put away childish behavior." He stood and guided her to the open edge of the hall, gesturing dramatically over the bustling scene below. All of this land, the people and everything in it, one day be yours. The future belongs to you. Trust is the greatest weight of leadership. You must be responsible not just for yourself, but for your people. Once again, the pharaoh knelt down on one knee in front of her. From his wrist, he unclasped a thick gold bracelet, a regal bangle gleaming with ancient beauty. Looking her directly into her eyes with a deep love, he said, "This gold is my promise to you, princess. Take care of this promise." He then slid his bracelet onto her own small wrist, kissed her forehead, and walked away toward the central throne. A heavy, unexpected tear slid down Isabella's cheek. The weight of that trust was enormous. She suddenly missed her parents, her dog, and her messy, safe room. She ran, bursting through the palace hallways until she found the hidden spot where the Remington was waiting. Isabella grabbed the typewriter, her heart pounding with a new, serious purpose. "I don't want to let Mom and Dad down again." Her fingers flew, not typing history, but typing her desperate wish to return home. The keys buzzed furiously, the air warmed, and with a final clack, she was gone. She landed back in her room. It was already dinner time. She burst through her bedroom door down to the kitchen. Dad looked up, smiling warmly. "You must have been busy all day working on that book report. We never saw you once today, my love." Isabella beamed at being called my love, remembering the pharaoh. "No dinner until you've washed your hands. You know the rules now. Scoot." Isabella marched right to the bathroom. She turned on the light, scrubbed her hands thoroughly, and as she reached to turn out the light, a glimmer caught her eye. Around her wrist was the golden bracelet the pharaoh had given her. In disbelief and surprised, she smiled and slowly walked back to the dinner table.